so nervous.
It'll go away.
Okay. It will. Amen.
This is a program to help educate you on some of the issues that are vital to your understanding and way of life, and what can be done to improve it. Only when we get other views can we make intelligent choices regarding the decisions and options available to us for the enrichment and improvement of our lives. Good evening, Truman Sigler for Personalities in the News. This show is dedicated to the memory of John Castle, who started Personalities in the News in 1964 through 2003 on several local stations, and he passed away several months ago. He was a teacher of history, government, and civics at Washington Union High School and was a noted advocate of the Constitutions and a Republican. The format of this program is educational in nature and based on the Constitutions of the United States of America and the Republic of California, as well as special guests based on their topics being presented. The show today is about how the actions of an employee agent of the Child Protection Services Agency attacked a couple that took their children without due process. There will be time for call-in questions. We ask that you please keep them on today's topic. Call in at 442-1680. That's 442-1680, Talk Radio, after the first break. The opinions of our guests are based on legal court actions and steps taken to date to have their children returned to them. Like I say, returned, as I take it from this point right now, they have not been totally returned to them. Our guest today is Isabel Valdez, and she has taken this issue by the horns by herself without any legal help. I commend her for that because it's not an easy thing to take on people in government. So our guest today is Isabel Valdez. Welcome to Personalities in the News. Take it away. Tell the people what got you into this and what's going on with it, because I want to learn too.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on your show. First of all, I would like to give glory to God because it's been his knowledge and his strength that has me here today, opening these doors. And I want to say to my daughter, Americus, Sierra, my sons, Isaiah, Dominic, Ethan, and Hector, Xavier, and Isaiah, that I love you guys, and Mom is fighting for you every day. With that said, this case began back in 2015, August 10th. I had a niece, her name was Reina Gonzalez, and her boyfriend, who went to Porterville Police Department and filed a case or a report against Hector Gonzalez, who was my then husband, for charges against my daughter, some acts that were accused of against my daughter. When I met with the detective the next day regarding these accusations, he shook my hand in the kitchen and told me that he would go back to the station to close the case because there was nothing there. The next day, after hearing this from the detective, he shows up at Motel 6 where we were staying after I spoke to his name is Pelon on the phone, letting him know that I was there. The detective showed up at Motel 6 and they claimed to have a warrant for the arrest of Hector because he found these accusations to be true. So I pointed to the room to where we were staying, and they went in for Hector. That warrant was never produced. The detective had all 5 of my children who were in my care at that time placed in the back seat of my sister-in-law's car with no car seats and no seat belts, transported to the station. He said that he wanted me to go in for questioning. I told him I did not have a license, so he offered to give me a ride there. When I got there, he placed me in a locked cell and never questioned me, just kept me in a locked cell until later after a while. Eventually, after the night unfolded, a CWS worker made her way to the station. She had a paper in front of her that had the names of only 5 of my children, which were the 5 children that were in my care that night: Sierra, Isaiah, Dominic, Ethan, and Hector. She made me sign this form, even though I didn't want to. the detective was standing there also kind of forcing me to sign this document. I was taken into custody. My bail was at $1 million. On the very next day after this happening, the social workers came back to Bob Wiley where I was being detained, and they had the same forms that I had signed the night before me, and they said that I had to sign this because if I didn't sign it, they were going to tell the judge that I was not being compliant, and then I would not get my kids back. But I noticed that on these new forms, instead of only the names of my 5 children being placed on here, now all 6 of my children's names were placed on this form. And I didn't get that because my oldest daughter was not with me. She was not removed by CWS. But I still signed it because they said if I didn't, I wouldn't get my kids back. And they claimed in their first document to the courts that the reason that they took my kids into custody was because they received an anonymous call stating that my children were abandoned, hungry, dirty, and distraught, and hadn't bathed for days. That they made their way to Motel 6 and picked them up from there. That's not true. I have close to 10 notarized letters stating that this was not true. And then I filed a paper with the courts. I told the courts that I did not want to be represented by any of the lawyers or conflicts that they had put, to represent me because they were not being a voice for my children. The judge gave me about a week of representing myself, and in this week I filed documents proving that there was perjury in my case. After I filed these documents, the judge called me back in and she said, "You cannot represent yourself anymore." And she said, "You have to stick with this attorney." I said, "I don't want him." She said, "You have to stay with your attorney." And she guaranteed me, she promised me before I took on that week of representing myself that she promised me I would never get my kids. And here we are today. I don't have my kids because I represented myself that week. Nonetheless, we were released on the 3rd day from jail. We never went before the judge. They never put us before the judge. At that time, I still didn't know why I was being arrested. I didn't understand. They swabbed us when they took us in. They swabbed us and they said that they had to swab us for a felony offense. I haven't even seen a judge and they're already swabbing me. So on the 3rd day when they released us, we made our way back to Porterville Police Station. And I asked her, I said, I want the arrest report. I want to know why I was arrested. She told me, "You were never arrested." I was using drugs at the time. The drugs were never submitted into evidence and they were never found. They went missing. I had a wedding ring that was never returned. That went missing. And according to Porterville PD at that time, I was never arrested. This year, we started again looking into the case a different way. Hector Gonzalez went to Porterville Police Station, asked for some documents, asked for a copy of that arrest warrant that the detective claimed to have. And they wrote back saying that there was never a warrant for him, that the search warrant was on the other defendant being myself. So I went to the Porterville Police Station myself and I requested a copy of that warrant. And they came back in writing stating that they couldn't give it to me per government code, privacy issues, that they couldn't release that copy to me. So we both went to Superior Court of California, Visalia Division, and we did a county-wide search for a arrest warrant, a search warrant, and a RAMI warrant. A couple of days before the arrest and a couple of days after the arrest. And there was never a warrant for either one of us. So we've been dealing with these obstacles. We've been dealing with these lies, with this perjury committed in our case. Our children were legally adopted out this January. That adoption finalized, and the reason for the adoption was because they noted it was for molestation, and that never happened. There was never no charges, nothing. My oldest daughter, I haven't had direct contact with her, but I have family members that have, and they've spoken to her about it, and she said it never happened. And so here we are, still battling, trying to get the government to see the truths, and nobody's releasing our kids. On, visits with our children got harder. On one of the visits, I gave my son a birthday gift, and because I didn't take that gift back, they had an officer go into the room where I was with my sons and escorted me out in front of my children. And we are ongoing with this issue in courts with Portable Police Department now for violating our due process. And once we get our children back, our children will be following the same steps, going after law enforcement for a violation of their due process.
I have the third amended complaint in front of me here where you, who helped you do this?
That was all guidance by God.
How did you do the research? Where did you go to get it? Because there's quite a few legal terms in here. It's very well put together, I may say, because I've done a lot of these myself.
Thank you. So that's just wisdom and guidance I've received from God.
Did you visit the law library to find out procedures or anything?
No.
You just wrote this up out of your head? Did. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner here.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of people years to get into doing something like this. I can speak from experience on that. I had to do quite a bit of visits to the law library and so forth and so on, but being I'm fortunate enough to be able to handle that, I won my case, or cases, several times. Now, why are you going to hire an attorney?
No.
Good. That's the first thing. A few of the things that I'd like to commend you on, too, is having the wherewithal to not accept an attorney, even though they said you have to. You don't have to. To my way of thinking about this and looking at it from experience, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an auto mechanic, basically. But I've been involved in things like this for quite some time. And you've got the good documentation here because you won your case here because they denied the government's stance on this based on lack of due process. That is a very big thing. I don't personally know how they're going to overcome this thing. If they persist on this, it could end up costing the agent that did this, because I didn't see any documentation in here that he was directed by anybody to do this to you.
Correct.
So he took it on his own. So that might be an out for the Child Protective Services if they didn't advise him that this is what he had to do. And so that makes him personally liable.
Correct.
The agency would not be liable. But the whole issue is based on, in my opinion, jurisdiction. Where do they acquire their jurisdiction to do this to you just because you're alive?
Correct.
Did you sign a contract with them? I don't think so.
No.
So there's lots on this. Now, we're going to have your husband in here. Ex-husband after a little bit. That's another thing.
Correct.
People don't realize. I'll comment on that when she gets done with her story. But we're going to bring him in after the first break and let him tell you his side of what happened and so forth, not just hearing from one person. And the more people you have to evidence this misgivings and misapplication of the so-called law, if it is a law, I think it's more like a contractual basis.
That's
like
right.
like the motor vehicle department. It's all contractual and it's all civil.
That's right.
And you have to sign into it. So we'll be getting a break here shortly, and we're going to bring Hector in and let him talk. Would you like to talk some more on yours? My voice is getting raspy like it always does.
I did want to say that through this walk, I have gained knowledge of a lot of cases. We have a ministry, and our ministry is helping families get through these moments that we have already overcame. This law enforcement, what they're doing now is they're actually kidnapping our children. That's what it is. We have filed a complaint with the district attorney to actually hold this detective accountable for kidnapping. And kidnapping does not have a statute of limitations.
That's correct.
So he denied me as a mother when I told him I want my children to go with the grandmother that was on site at the time of their presence. I told him I want my children to go home with family. He already violated my right as a parent when he said no. And then he questioned my younger daughter without a parent.
Okay, well, I hear some music in the background.
That's our break.
It means that we're going to be going on a break, so you can take your earphones off and go out and get Hector while the break is going on, and we'll talk to him for a little bit.
Right. How do you? You did wonderful. For your first time girl, you're badass.
Hey, watching on Facebook Live.
How you doing?
All right, there you go.
Put the earphones on so you can hear. Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mics might be hot, so
Okay. If I'm too loud, let me know.
yeah.
Tend to get loud.
No, that's fine.
Right now for your free brochure. So if you're looking for the perfect cruise tour to Alaska or the perfect guided vacation package, you need to call YMT Vacations to book right now or for our free brochure.
800-213-9256. 800-213-9256. 800-213-9256. That's 800-213-9256.
Free Enterprise Society exists to educate Americans about the importance of the U.S. Constitution. This is the formula, if you will, that made this country the greatest country the world has ever seen. We are not supposed to be like the rest of the world. You can get more information at my website. We're also funded by people like you. We have a membership. We can help you with some IRS problems. We also need donations and benefactors to continue this work. So if you want to abolish the income tax, check us out. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. But anyway, thanks for listening.
Bill O'Reilly is back on the radio.
We're going to fight back.
And he's on Talk Radio 1680 KGED.
Let me just throw you my best shot.
The O'Reilly Update, weekday afternoons at 3:45. Talk Radio 1680 KGED.
Welcome back to Personalities in the News. I am Truman Sigler with our guest for more information on our topic for today and your questions after this break is over. Hector, welcome to Personalities in the News. Let's hear your side of this saga.
Hi, my name is Hector, and before I start, I would like to say thank you to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for getting us where we're at right now, and continuing to be with us throughout this whole ordeal. Yes, Isabel pretty much said it all. A lot of things were done wrong. A lot of our amendments and rights were done wrong. We've tried different ways. We've had lawyers and just judges just disregard us and kick us out and not want to listen to what we have to say. And it's been a tough battle. It's been 3 years. We definitely miss our boys. We do have I have a brother who has them, but my brother does not let us talk to them, see them, or anything. So it's pretty much like they're gone. They are together, which is at least the three boys. The youngest
That's a blessing.
Yes, definitely. Can't ask for more than that. They're not separated, but nonetheless, holidays come by and it hurts. Christmas coming, it hurts. Thanksgiving. We've been strong, and Isabel's been doing a lot of work on her own. She's very good at what she does. She's always been good at that kind of stuff. Anyways, if it wasn't for her and God's guidance through her, I don't think we'd be here now, continuing this battle. Definitely, detective came in and took me in, saying he had a warrant and searched our place, and just so many things were done wrong. As a matter of fact, an incident where CWS had a note or a letter, notarized letter, stating that she herself came and witnessed all this, which is why she decided to make a decision and take the kids. Well, at the end, we figured out that it was a lie. She didn't show up to the police station from Visalia till 1-something in the morning, where she signed the federal document or whatever document they signed that gave her power to take the kids, and which was a lie. We figured out later on that the detective had filled out the paperwork for her, and she just came and signed it. When we tried to use that in court, judge didn't want to hear that. She was still on, the beginning part of the case.
Now, this signing of the documents, that was forced on her, from my understanding.
Yes.
And the threat was the removal of the kids, and she'd never get them back again.
Yeah, correct. That same night, all kids were split up separate. They've never been separated before in their lives. And that same night, at 1-something in the morning, she decided to get them all and take them all and drop them off in Lindsay, Exeter, Farmersville. I said they were all just separated that same night. When me and her were released after no charges were filed, after a 72-hour of a holding cell, they released us with no charge, no court, just sorry about that. Go home. But when we do go home, our kids are gone. We actually went back to get proof of incarceration, and we were even being told that we were never in jail. And we're like, wait a minute. When you go to jail, you get a wristband. We showed, look, here's a wristband. Here's the date. We were in jail. Well, according to the computer, you were never in there. So a lot of things were being done wrong and hiding, and and they're trying to stay below radar type of thing. Later on, we discovered it all, and we got documents stating that there was never anything issued, no warrants. It was just a lot of things were done wrong. And we discovered that. So now Isabel is using that, to try and hopefully, with the help of God, we're trying to get her kids back.
Yeah, well, she did the right things, especially not being knowledgeable by citing the 14th Amendment and the 4th Amendment.
Yes, when you read the paperwork, it sounds like a lawyer did it, yes.
Yep, that's why I looked at this paperwork for the first time this morning to get myself familiar with it.
She's very good at it.
And I was going to ask her, which I did, who helped her with this, and she said she did it by herself. If she would do just a little bit of studying and so forth with this talent that she has, God-given talent, she could become a paralegal and a very strong advocate in this thing.
No, for sure. When we were going to the courts in the beginning, because she was so knowledgeable at this.
Get a little closer to the
because
mic,
she was so knowledgeable at this, you could tell that once they said she can represent herself and they seen how she put the paperwork together, that it looked so good that you could tell the judge got scared and said, never mind, you're not allowed to represent yourself. You need one of our lawyers. Okay, why? Because obviously your lawyers are going to go ahead and, do what the judge wants to do.
Yeah, well, most people don't realize that lawyers, if they're in the Bar Association, they are actually, by law, officers of the court. And they are basically, they say they're not, but they are basically controlled by the court. And you have to remember that these lawyers are in court every day. It's a job. And they don't want to get the judges upset with them.
Exactly.
Because if they do, the judges have a way of getting back to them. And that's why...
during the lunch times, they were having lunch together, the judge and our lawyers that are representing us, which wasn't making no sense. And our lawyers were just agreed to this, just agreed to that, just sign this. Just pretty much forcing us to do to get it out of the way because the judge is getting tired of prolonging our cases and making it stretch longer. And just so much, it's just made it so hard. And
that's their way of doing things.
Well, and today, right now, we still have not seen our kids.
Yeah.
So how much? Imagine how painful that is. Our babies were gone. The smallest one was 2. Now he's like 5. Just not seeing. And it's weird because the 2 babies, 2 and 4, I believe, when they were taken, they didn't know Spanish. Because all we did is talk English. Well, they put them in a foster home thing with Spanish speakers. So imagine the communication of how hard that was for them, trying to understand not only different people that they're there with, but not even understanding their language.
Yeah, most generally that situation is reversed. Most generally, if you are of Spanish descent or so forth, they just take for granted that you don't speak English.
Yeah.
And so you've got a lot going for you here, that the fact that they did all this by coercion and by threat, and with lack of due process, I see major hurdles for them when this comes down to the battle point. And as long as the paperwork is researched and the laws are cited with the proper quotes from the court systems and past things of this nature, you should have a real clear case. Because I don't see how they're going to overcome all these obstacles, because they're many and they're major. They're not just some little whimsy thing. So I think that's what they've got.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I'm sorry to.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
Okay. And you know what else too? That the captain of this detective, when I went to get a copy of my so-called warrants, he signed a document himself, whether it's a federal or not, stamped by them, saying that no, the other person that had that warrant was not you. It was the other defendant. Okay, wait a minute. I'm the one who got arrested. I'm the one they went there for. I'm the one that said I had a warrant. Now you're telling me it wasn't me, it was the other defendant, which is Isabel? Okay, so he stamped a letter saying it wasn't me. It was the other defendant. Well, we looked it up. We went to Superior Court, judge, clerk. Everyone signed it saying there was never, ever issued a warrant for me, whether it's a Remy warrant, search warrant, or arrest warrant, or for Isabel. So why is it that the captain is saying that she was the one who had it? And then when she tried to go to the police station to get a copy, they couldn't give her that information. They said it was confidential or something.
They're acting like another group of people that's a long ways away from here that are doing the same thing, trying to pull a bunch of wool over people's eyes by changing things around and saying this didn't happen and that didn't happen when there's documented proof that it has. And you people have done a marvelous job of documenting this thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as the music comes on for the break, we're going to bring Isabel back in.
Correct.
And she's going to answer some questions from the viewers. As a matter of fact, we have one on the air right now, and I'm going to go ahead and take it, and we'll see how it goes. You are on the air at Personalities in the News. Do you have a question for our guests? Hello, we have a person on the air, and he'll be here, or that person will be on shortly. We're having a little technical glitch here, but no big thing. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, I'm a good friend of Truman's, and I just want to say that, I congratulate you too. I mean, it's such a heartbreaking story to hear. My heart goes out to you guys, and just continue putting up the fight. I know, and you guys are very spiritual. You guys have mentioned a couple of times, the Lord will definitely, get you through it, but I'm happy you guys are being proactive about this. Truman, you had mentioned earlier that this was happening as well. In one of your previous shows, you talked about something, similar, due process violation in Mariposa. You had a show on that. I kind of want to get your opinion, Truman. It looks like these smaller cities, these law enforcement agents, it's kind of like, I guess they feel free to do whatever they want.
Well, that's because they've been getting away with it for a number of years. And the same thing goes on to all the programs that we've had on this vein. And the court cases that we have cited have a similar thread that run through all of them. Matter of fact, they're all mostly under this one large court case that came down from years and years ago.
Yeah.
So
I guess my question for the guests would be, maybe when she comes back, she can also answer it. I mean, I know you guys are going through the courts, but have they gone through like the city council there? Have they gone to elected officials? Are there other avenues they can pursue?
I can answer that. I think they have started that process, but we're going to, our other legal researcher that's one of our co-hosts is working with Isabel right now, and she is going to research the law for constitutionality and applicability and see how it all comes down. Then, because we'll have all the ducks in order, we'll be able to go after them, and she can do this on her own. I'm confident of that. So that's the way it's going to be attacked. It's not going to be done through barred lawyers. We're going to go through this thing the correct way. And
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. Are you watching us or are you listening to us?
Radio.
Good. Okay. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
And you know what? One more thing. We've tried looking into with other different lawyers and people, and everyone's afraid to touch this.
That's
case.
right. It's all fear. We have another party on the line, and while I'm talking to that person for a moment, you want to switch hands and take your earphones off,
yes.
And let Isabel come in. Next, you are on the air. Hello. Are you?
Hello,
yes.
Hi, this is Steve from Illinois.
Yes, Steve. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, I sent you an email. Did you get it?
I don't know if what would it have been under.
I just wanted to know if you were a car nut like me, because that's what your email said you were.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna put.
If you send me another one, let me know. Alert it. I'll keep my eye open for it.
Okay. I've got Isabel on the line, so ask her your question.
Have you considered on having some people from outside help you on this case?
I don't believe it at this point in time. The outside is going to be within our system that we do, not with the court system or anything like that, until it gets to that point mandatorily.
Well, I know some people, personal friends of mine,
Steve, can
are dealing with this that could probably render them some help.
Right,
if
Steve,
you would like.
Steve, can you hang on? Can you hang on just a moment? Stay on the line. We've got to take a break here to let the people that pay for the station get their word in on the air. So just hang on.
Yes, sir.
Westwood One with a Monday Night Football preview. An AFC
You have to
West
do a lot of
battle
ad-libbing
south of the
and be
border,
ready to
where the Kansas City
cut it
Chiefs
off.
will meet the Los Angeles Chargers.
So
in
he's going to come
Mexico
back
City.
on.
Quarterback Patrick Mahomes is back calling the signals for Kansas City.
when the commercials
Chiefs
are
have lost 3 out of their last 5. Can they get back on the winning track? Join us to find out and hear the NFL all season from Westwood One.
Free Enterprise Society exists to educate Americans about the importance of the U.S. Constitution. This is the formula, if you will, that made this country the greatest country the world has ever seen. We are not supposed to be like the rest of the world. You can get more information at my website. We're also funded by people like you. We have a membership. We can help you with some IRS problems. We also need donations and benefactors to continue this work. So if you want to abolish the income tax, check us out. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. But anyway, thanks for listening.
The following statements may be disturbing or offensive for some audiences. Life begins at the very moment of conception. Every single life is priceless. Mankind is created in the very image of God. I know that the aforementioned statements did not offend you. At least I hope not. But for many in our culture today, they are sadly offensive. I believe that every life conceived should have every opportunity to reach its full potential.
Going back live in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jonathan Keller from California Family Council. We're an organization here in the state of California dedicated to advancing God's design for life, family, and liberty through California's church, community, capital, and culture. You can find out more about the work that we do by visiting our website, californiafamily.org, or following us on Facebook and Twitter. California still has a lot to offer this country, but we need your help. Please visit us today, and be sure to listen to our show every Monday morning. God bless.
Welcome back to Personalities in the News. I'm Truman Sigler with our guests for more information on our topic for today and your questions. Steve, you're still on the line. And to let you know, we will accept any help we can get.
Amen.
And
okay, I commend her. I commend her highly for what she's doing. But I want to point out to her, and hopefully she'll understand what I'm saying here. Is she is not dealing in a lawful court. You're dealing in an administrative court.
Exactly.
Okay, and the only reason that they want you to get an attorney is once you get an attorney,
you can't speak.
You are basically saying you're incompetent to handle your own case.
Correct.
And it's not that you're incompetent, but when you're dealing in this administrative court such as you are, they do whatever they want. I went through almost 3 years of dealing just a traffic. This is just a traffic ticket. Almost 3 years. And they didn't have to they did what they wanted. They lied. They instructed each other. And as like I believe your husband said, or maybe it was you, they all converse with each other in a back room.
Correct.
And sometimes it's not just the back room. I've been there with them. And I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, breakfast, dinner, you know, it's just amazing. So you don't have to have an attorney. You have a right to counsel.
That's correct.
And they don't have to be an attorney. Don't let them fool you.
So that is knowledge that we are gathering
we're,
on our way. Yes, we are working on that.
We in the Free Enterprise Society are quite familiar with this. Most of us have been through this.
Correct.
We know what the drill is. We know we're in an administrative court, and we know how to present it to them that gets us out. But the main thing is you never sue the agency because the agency instructions do not allow their agents to break the law or violate that. That's correct. And the minute they do, the agency gets relieved, and the person that did this is held responsible. And I went through that myself.
Right.
And
they
I know exactly how to do it.
They start their jurisdiction just because you're in a state, because you're on the ground.
Well,
and birth certificates, marriage license, and anything else. Once you sign into that gives them even more authority because they created that program.
Yes, but they have drugged these people in by threat and coercion. That throws a whole different thing on, and we're going to handle that. And
Amen. So, Steve,
anyway,
we would love to hear from you.
Steve, you've got my email.
Yes.
If you can find it, I'll send you another one. And
send me another one. I'm looking right now.
Yeah, anybody that you know of.
And if she wants some help from some people,
there's lots of them out there.
They will help her.
That's right.
So Steve,
and I will give you the information. I'll give it to Truman to give to you.
Okay.
Any and all help.
Okay.
Correct.
Trust me. So I'll have Truman can send me another email, and if you want that information, please tell him, and I will give that information to him, and they will help you.
Right,
okay.
we'll pass it on. Steve, thanks much
for
your call in.
Thank you.
And
good luck with you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you again. I'm looking forward to a lot of conversations with you because one car nut to another, we have to be all together.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Isabel, do you want to answer that question that he threw at you? I didn't write it down, so.
Which one was that? The one if we wanted help?
Yes.
So we will freely receive any help or anything that anybody feels guided to share or send our way. Not only do we want to receive help from those that are willing to help, but we also want to hear those voices that have been silenced. We also want to hear those mothers that cry at night with nobody seeing them. We want to speak to those fathers that have lost their children and feel like they have no hope. We want them to know that they can contact our ministry so we can work together, all of us, Mr. Truman, with yourself, with Miss Sue Ann, so that we can bring our children home. And they can either contact you if your information is on the screen, or they can contact me on my cell phone. It's 559-667-3608. And we will definitely want to work together and bring those children home.
Well, that's what it's all about.
Amen.
When Sue Ann told me about this, she said, I don't know if you want to get involved in this or handle it. I said, I welcome this kind of stuff. That's what we're here for. We're here to handle the local issues here in our listening area and in our viewing area. If you have something that you want to look into that's based on this education thing for your self-preservation, or any other issues that you think are important to the viewers, let us know. We'll be glad to talk to you about it. And if you aren't afraid to come on the air or have people watch you, and even if you are, I'll work with you to talk you through it.
You do good at that, Mr. Truman.
Have you got anything else that you want to bring up? We've got some time left.
Okay.
And we want to hear from you, not from me. I'm just here as a moderator. So have at it.
Okay. So, well, it's been a long road, Mr. Truman, and it's been a lot of tears and a lot of hurt. And we do lose hope in our justice system at times, because no matter what type of case you are coming across, whether it's civil, family, or criminal, the justice system is creating more victims. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank this radio for being here and for receiving our voice and for allowing us to be heard. And I pray that our viewers and our listeners become a regular sponsor for you to continue to help you keep going, because you are touching a lot of hearts. And whether you know it or not, you are a strong movement in bringing these children home. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, we're not there yet, but
they're home.
We're going to get there, and I'll guarantee you, Sue Ann is listening tonight. If she doesn't, she's going to get a copy of this.
And I encourage parents, when CWS comes to your door, you are not obligated to let them in. Do not let them force you and install fear in you that you have to, or your kids will be taken away. Learn from our mistakes. Don't go by fear. Also, when they come and try to take your children away, please ask for a warrant, whether it's a law enforcement, a law officer, or whether it's a caseworker. Either one of those entities must present a warrant to, have your children, to take your children away. They have to, by law. That's due process. And if not, then you legally do not have to let your children go with them. I want to make sure our viewers and our listeners know that, because that's going to protect and that's going to help keep a lot of children home, because they need that warrant.
Well, see, these people, not only in CPS, I mean, I've heard of horror stories before.
Correct.
And I never really paid much attention to it because my ox wasn't gored in that particular instance. But it's no different than traffic. It's no different than building permits. It's no different than any civil process that the government is in. If it's a crime, that's a whole different thing. But the due process requirements are more stringent in the criminal access because these guys usually have guns on, and that intimidates people right off the bat. But you've gone through an intimidation program on this.
Correct.
That is so atrocious and so far-fetched from our system of justice.
Amen.
That it just tears me up. It makes me angry. So I'm sorry about that, but it makes me angry. And I know that Sue Ann listening is the same way. She intimated to me earlier in the week when we talked that she had basically the same thing happen to her. And she was very interested in this case. Now that you've got her interest, I know that this thing is going to be researched from top to bottom so that we're on 100% right and within the framework of our rule of law.
Yes.
The problem is in this country anymore, the rule of law has been kind of turned upside down.
It has
and
been.
It's people like you and myself and the Free Enterprise Society and many other people that I'm in contact with. We've got to bring this rule of law back to our city, our county, our state, and so forth.
Yes, and I would like to thank Sue Ann, and I would like to thank Mr. Robert and Mr. Keith and our brothers that I meet with every Thursday for their guidance and their strength through this, because, you know, those were steps that we've had to take to be able to get here today. And I also want to speak to law enforcement, to those officers that are listening to or that will probably receive this video either emailed or, you know, a link. Because I pray if you guys know a law, somebody in law, I pray, or somebody in CWS, I pray you guys share these links with them because they need to know that we know their wrongs and that we're not afraid. We're not afraid to say, no, you're not taking my kids. And we're not afraid to say, you took my children, I'm here for them back, because they are coming home. I want them to know that they're using that WIC code, Welfare Institution Code 300. They're using it for every case. If you look at every CWS case right now, every child is being removed under WIC code 300, which is imminent danger. They are in imminent danger. That's why we have to take them, which that is what CWS and law enforcement is using to bypass needing a warrant to remove your children. The thing is, they are not presenting enough evidence in the court of law to show that there was imminent danger for them to take our children away. And the judges at this time are failing, and they're not doing their job, and they're not holding their oath to hold these caseworkers and officers accountable and saying, wait a minute, a domestic violence issue that happened 3 weeks ago is not imminent danger. I ran into 2 law enforcement officers at a park one day. They wanted to take the children away from a mother. She called me frantically and said, they're here. I go and I speak to the officers, and I tell them, what's the reason for the removal of the children? And they said it was under Welfare Institution Code 300. And I told them, these children are outside in the park, they're playing. They just ate dinner. What imminent danger are they in? That officer stuttered. And he told me, oh, I didn't say that code. I said, yes, you did. And by the grace of God, those children are not removed. But these officers, that's the code that they want to use nowadays. And the caseworkers the same. And if we look into all these cases, we're going to see that maybe 1%, 2% were actually in imminent danger where they had to be removed without a warrant.
I'd like to speak on one thing as relating to peace officers, commonly called the police.
Correct.
I have a lot of respect for the peace officers.
Me too.
And then the job that they do, putting their life on the line.
Every day.
The danger and all of these things. However, when they cross over from the criminal aspect of their duties at the time, and they cross over to the civil thing, then they become not a peace officer. They become, if they're like in traffic, they become a revenue agent. I have no respect for revenue agents.
Amen.
When on the other thing, on the situation that you're faced with, they are still crossed over, in my estimation, at this time, on the civil side, because codes are not law. They are policy, usually actuated or put into force by a statute.
Correct.
But a criminal law, it has its own book. And those, if they're not in that book, the code book for criminal activity, they don't have the jurisdiction.
That's right.
Anyway, we're coming up on our 3rd break for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll have some more to close out the show. Take it away, Mr. Engineer. I make this fun.
You sure do. Thank you.
Even though it's very serious.
It is very serious. It is.
Witnesses to obstruct justice, and he and his account should be taken down.
You're listening to the new Talk Radio 1680 KGED.
Free Enterprise Society exists to educate Americans about the importance of the U.S. Constitution. This is the formula, if you will,
man that you're hearing right now, he's our other host.
The world's ever seen.
He's the
We're not
director of the
supposed
Free
to be like
Enterprise
the rest of the
Society.
world. You can get more information
I've been
on
with
my
them since
website. We're also
1985.
funded by people like you. We have a membership. We can help you with some IRS problems. We also need donations and benefactors to continue this work. So if you want to abolish the income tax, check us out. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. But anyway,
I pray this story brings you more sponsorships because I really want you to keep going.
I intend on it.
Yes.
One name.
Yes.
9 locations. The lowest prices anywhere in the valley. With the highest quality furniture. It's Serrano's Furniture. The Serrano's Furniture Galleries are family owned and operated right here in Central California.
There you go.
For over 30 years. Giving you
I know. I
top-name
think
brands like Legacy,
people ask me,
Parker
will I
House, and
stop
Klausner.
advocating
The
once
best
my
prices
children
on
come
America's
home? And I
number
say, are you
one
kidding
rated
me?
mattresses
They're the
like
reason I got
Serta,
started. How can I
Simmons,
stop
and
once
the
they're in my
iComfort
care?
Sleep System. Before you buy your
No.
furniture online, which comes to your home unassembled, visit a Serrano's Furniture Gallery near you. Serrano strives to give you exceptional customer service as well as giving you the best price and best value. Serrano's Furniture in Fresno, Visalia, Hanford, Porterville, Madera, Tulare, Bakersfield, Delano, and Dinuba. This is the big one, the largest furniture retailer in the valley, Serrano's. For monthly specials, visit serranosfurnituregalleries.com.
Welcome back to Personalities in the News. I'm Truman Sigler with our guest. For more information on our topic and today for your questions. The line is open right now. We encourage you to call 442-1680. That's 442-1680. We would love to hear from you. Isabel, we got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
If you want to just keep on going, we'll go until we run out of time, and I will let you know when that happens.
Okay, so that pretty much summed up our case. That's what we've been going through. That's what we've been struggling with. And I don't know. That's just what we've had to deal with up until now.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we stop. We have had hiccups. We've had many no's, that are being told to us. Many documents that are not being wanting to be disclosed to us. We do have officers now that are now committing even a newer crime by signing documents stating that there is documents present or there's none present. So it's just tangling up more. There's more truths coming to light.
Okay. We have a lady on the line. She's getting to be a regular caller. From Selma, give us a call. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you? This is Helena.
Yes.
So I just want to say I'm sorry to hear this happen to you. And my question is, what can mothers do to make sure this doesn't happen to them, to their children? Is there anything that they can be proactive about? And also, if this does happen to them, who do we reach out to?
So the first thing
when they feel helpless.
The first thing I would highly recommend, and actually the first thing I would tell you to do is pray. You need to stay strong in prayer. Pray for our children and pray that the hearts of these individuals are softened so that they recognize their wrongs and we don't continue these circles. Second of all, if you're a mother that has or is going through something like this, please reach out to us because we are coming together to, no matter where you find yourself, what county or what state, what area you find yourself in, it's best for you to contact us so that we can hear your story, hear your testimony, bring your case together, because if it's all of us standing strong, then it's harder for them to say, no, this isn't happening, or it's harder for it to get swept under the rug. And in order to avoid this to continue to happen, like I said, is you need to hold those accountable that come to your door. You need to make sure you remember that that's your home. You need to protect your home. You need to protect your children. And that means you need to ask questions. They're there for your children. Why? Show me the warrant. They're knocking on your door. You can't come in. Don't open that screen door. You're not forced to. You are obligated to ask them for a warrant. That's what you are obligated to do. And once that they have handed you a warrant, check the timestamp, check the date on that. Make sure all that is is right. If they don't show nothing, don't open your door.
That's right. You're not obligated to talk to them.
Correct.
You're not obligated to answer any questions. All you have to do is ask questions. Ask the right ones. Where's the documents giving you jurisdiction to come into my castle?
Correct. That's your home. You need to protect it. And if they're telling you you need to come to these, now what CWS is doing is they hold these meetings that they're saying that they're voluntary meetings. And if you don't show up to this meeting that's voluntary, that they're taking your children from you for that reason, that's a voluntary meeting. You need to make sure you hold on to that and don't give them that right. Don't fear them. CWS is a big entity, and that's what people are fearing, that the actions that they can take, whether righteously or wrongfully, is what people fear. But in order for that to not happen is you need to protect your family, and you need to protect your family by taking the right steps, which is praying and staying knowledgeable about the situation that we're in.
That's right. Is the lady still on the air, or no? She left, but I'm sure she heard every word that you said. And this has been a very interesting session for me. I'm learning a lot just for doing this part of it, but I'm going to learn a lot more, especially when Sue Ann gets a hold of this and she does her research. Then we'll be in a position to maybe recommend some actions that people can take, or put them in contact with Isabel and her group.
Correct.
And some of these other people are going to be coming in from Steve back in Illinois about some people he thinks that can help. We're going to be a united front on these issues, not just this one, but every issue that we bring up on this program. We are proactive and we are interested. We do not take the case on, because that is not what we're here for.
Correct.
We're here to recommend an action if we know what it might be, or people that do know what to be done and handle this thing. Isabel?
So I want to thank you, like I said, for opening up this time for us and being able to reach out to those families that are listening to us. And we are definitely receiving any guidance that anybody wants to share with us, or those that want to participate and help this group, these families get stronger together. That's the number one. For all the pain that we have gone through pain. I've had to hear children laughing, and I have to hear the word mom coming out of children's mouths, and remember that word is not directed to myself at that moment. But in order to stop that, in order to protect our children from going that, this is the time that we need to not be scared, and we need to stand and say, you know what, that did happen to me. I know that wasn't right, but now I know there is somebody who cares. Now I know there is somebody that doesn't have fear, and they are going to help me bring my children home. We need those people to contact us. We need those people to hear us, so that we enter their hearts and their homes and know that they're not alone.
That's correct. If you remember what one of our past presidents said in 1941, I was alive and I heard that, because he was doing his weekly radio chat with the people. He said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself."
That's right.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is so true. And the people that are in power know that intimidation and weapons and threats put the fear into you, because you're not used to this. You're not brought up to this. You're not taught in the schools that you are supposed to be, that you are free. You are told otherwise. Join the slaves in the country. Get these numbers and join in like everybody else. Well, you're not like everybody else. You are an individual. And so that's what it's all about. Stick up for yourself. If you know somebody that needs some help, help them. Do what you have to do. And that's what we're going to do by this network. And I know there's a large network on the CPS system, because I've heard of horror stories all over the country. And it all boils down to ignorance and fear.
And it all boils down to money, because for every children they take from your home is money. For every children that they keep out of your home, for every children that they can adopt, they get money. So they don't want us to be back with our children. They don't want us to reunify. Of course not, because if we reunify, they're not getting money. So it's hard when you have to sit back and everybody wants to hear about all these, underground children are being sold for sex or slavery, but we are failing to see the actual ring that's right in front of us.
That's right.
This is the ring that's selling and buying children, and we are allowing it to happen, and we're doing it out of fear because we don't want to say anything, or we don't know where to start. Well, this is the start.
Well, you, by standing up and doing this fantastic job on a complaint. Matter of fact, you amended it twice. This is the third amended complaint. That is virtually unheard of by someone without the knowledge of what it all takes. And you just grab the bull by the horns and you're wrestling it to the ground. The only trouble is we're going to be there to help you hold those people on the ground, hold them to the fire. And you have opened my eyes on this, and I hope that you have opened some eyes to our viewers and our listeners.
I pray
because,
we did.
If not you, it's going to be them.
That's right.
And that's just the way it goes. It just runs on right down the line.
That's right.
How do they get a hold of you, of your group? Is there any other way besides the phone number that you gave out?
So that is the best way to contact me. I do have that on 24/7 because I know we all are in different time zones and whatnot, but I am also available through email. And that is, my email is V as in Victor, ELA as in Adam, Isabel, ISAB as in boy, EL84@gmail.com.
That's good. The more interaction we get on this and the various ways of doing it, whether it's by telephone or by email or even write in.
Correct. They can write in. Our office is located at 118 South Court, COURT, in Visalia, California, 93291.
Okay. Very good. Well, our program next week, I don't know if it'll be this interesting or not, but it's more than likely going to be a carry on of some of the other issues that we have, because we have been getting some action on that. We're still active on the Paul Ballard scenario coming out of Southern California, but he lives in Mariposa County, and we're got some information for him. And as soon as it's complete, we're going to see if we can schedule him in for another show. The Mendota program is another one where we got a whole lot of information which helps him. And also Jerry Cox up in Madera County. He really got ripped over by the building department for permits and so forth that he's not really obligated to have. And we had the author on that wrote on the Mendoza brothers in Southern California, with the ones that killed their family. We also had... his name was Robert Rand, and we also had two attorneys for Jerry Cox on the line. And we went into this, and we're waiting on a little bit more information so that we can pass it on to him. We don't just forget when we have guests on. It's logged, it's taken care of, and we like to do more, but we do run out of time occasionally. I think we're coming down to, the 2 minute size? Right now, we got about 2 minutes to go. Isabel, have you got another minute's worth you can talk about?
I can talk all day, I think. I'm used to talking.
Well, good. I'm going to put my microphone down.
Oh, thank you. So, yes, once again, you guys can reach us at our ministry is Our Father's Home, and you can reach us at 559-667-3608. We are working with different organizations and different groups that have been brought together for the same hurt and the same cause. There are some out of different counties already. Like I said, there's some people from different states that have reached out to us for these helps. But I want you to know that we're not open to only helping you with your CWS case. We are also open to helping you with any case you have that the justice system has done you wrong. If you have been victimized by the justice system, this is a number you want to dial. This is someone you want to reach out to, because enough is enough. We're tired. We're tired of being afraid to pick up the phone and call law enforcement because of what's going to happen. We're afraid of spanking our son because he's cursing or probably trying to hit us because CWS will take him away. It's time that we say no to the government in our homes, and it's time to say yes to the mother and father that we're blessed with these children to be the ones that rule over our homes.
Very good. Well, I'm going to take off here and say everything that I do on the end of every show. If you like our format and topics, let us know and tell others. Our time is up for this evening, so thanks to Isabel and Hector for coming on with this. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in next week, same time and stations. Talk Radio 1680 AM and TV channel 32.3 television. Truman Ziegler for Personalities in the News. Good night. See? It's not that bad.
No, actually, it felt natural. It felt really natural. It felt really good.
Well, we're gonna have you on again. I'll guarantee you that.
Amen. Please do.
Because as this information comes in, I know I'll be contacting you on it.
Yes, please.
And the people that are going to be helpful will be helpful. There's positive mental attitude is what makes everything work. And also, never give up.
Amen.
Have you seen that little caricature on a piece of paper with the stork and the frog? You know what a stork is? A big bird with a big.
Yep, the one that normally carries the babies.
And you know what a frog is?
Yes.
Well, you got the stork has the frog in his mouth, and the frog has his hand clamped tight around the frog's throat. Never give up.
That's right. That's right. That's a picture I need to find. I would love that picture.
And also, there is. Are you in Visalia or Tulare?
Visalia.
Okay, there is a Toastmasters Club in Visalia.
Okay.
I would urge you to contact them. I don't have the information on my head, but there's several in Visalia, several in Tulare. There's one in Hanford. There's about 12 clubs or so up here in Fresno. And you learn the art of talking on the cuff. Okay, in other words, impromptu speaking. That's how we open. That's how one of our main programs we have an hour and a half program once a week. Okay. And you learn how to stand up in front of people. Okay. Eye contact, vocal variety, all of these things that make for good communication.
Amen.
Because communication is where it